There's a reason for this. Water, not vodka.
Thank you, John. In 1965, autumn of 1965, when I came here, the thought of doing something like this, standing up and speaking publicly, was just beyond nightmarish to me. I was an undiagnosed, learning disabled, struggling student who came here for a PG senior year. It was a day off. And just the idea of me even raising my hand in class was actually too frightening for me, because I thought I was wrong. I didn't know what to say. I had thoughts, I had opinions, I had viewpoints, but I didn't have a voice yet. By the way, can you hear me okay? And it's funny, because if it's okay, I'm thinking, well, why are we here raising money? It's just good enough. But then I thought, well, because good enough isn't good enough, right? I mean, imagine if LFA's logo were Lake Forest Academy. We're good enough. It wouldn't work, right? Well, good enough isn't the way we should be. We should be raising the bar all the time. I played hockey at Providence College for a coach, a great coach, who's in the NHL Hall of Fame now. He's won 3 Stanley Cups, and he would not allow us to say, I did my best. Because he said, that's fine. You can always do better. And yesterday, the meetings, John, Phil, and you, and a bunch of people kept saying, oh, we're doing really well. The school's doing well. Everything is working fine, but we can do better. And that's the way we are. That's the way we should be. As far as audio is concerned, and I learned this through my job at NBC, we soon realized how important it is to hear things clearly. And when you have mediocre audio, mediocre lighting, it encourages mediocre performances. If it's not a great microphone, it crushes good notes and it hides the bad notes. Seeing the musicians out here tonight, they sound a lot better. They're wonderful musicians, but they sound a lot better because I can hear that sort of tonal quality in the microphone. And why do that? Why crush that? Why should anybody try really hard if that best note is not going to be heard? Or why should somebody fear stepping up here if they know that they're going to be camouflaged and their mistakes aren't going to be heard? In the 60s, the Beatles came out, and music craftsmanship was way up. Great musicians, and all of a sudden they had Eric Clapton and Pete Townsend and all the rest of them, one after another. And then this group called the Kinks came out, and they thought to themselves, how do we can't play the guitar like Clapton. So one of the Davies brothers stuck a knitting needle into the amplifier and blew out a fuse and caused this distortion. So now they're so that works. And they created a sound. And it was creative and interesting, but it was a purposeful distortion of perfection. And, you know, it worked in rock, and in rock, sometimes louder is better, but in life, we know it's not the person who speaks the loudest, it's the person who speaks the clearest. And that's really, really important. Same with light. You know, when you have light, it's here, if it's dramatic and it's good, and it entices somebody to step into the light. It's a fearful thing. So it was fearful for me. But when you get in there and you do it and you lay it all on the line, it's such a rewarding thing as well. I read a quote, this is paraphrased by Plato. It said that we can understand when a child is afraid of the dark, but it's a tragedy when an adult is afraid of the light, afraid of being exposed and seen and all the rest. I've learned to be open to that and okay with that, because I am who I am. I don't have a prepared speech. I'll speak from the heart. And that's the best I can do. As John said, Crest is not just about the performing arts. It's about everything. It's about students meeting here, lectures, and these video hookups all over the world. And I was thinking it's a window to who we are and what we're about. Wouldn't you want that view of who we are, what we're about, to be seen and heard in perfect clarity, because it is such a great school with wonderful attributes. You know, you hear terms like soaring vocals or lofty rhetoric, and it's always moving up, moving higher. And I love the line from the Dylan song, "May you build a ladder to the sky and climb on every rung." And I think for me, anyway, that ladder, the base of that ladder was right here. And I started climbing. And I think all the students should have that opportunity to climb as high as they can possibly climb. We all have been affected by great performances and bravery when people put it on the line and they go out and they step into the light and they have the microphone attached to them and they try. I remember at NBC I was when Phantom of the Opera came to Broadway. I did a story there for a couple of days. I was just hanging around on the stage, and then night of performance, I was right off the side of the stage. And Michael Crawford was maybe where John was over there, that far away. And I could see him clearly. I could see the orchestra pit below, or maybe the first 5 rows of the audience. And he sang the song Music of the Night. It was really good audio. And you could see his concentration, and it's a really difficult song to sing. And you could see the orchestra, the violinists, and the conductor. Everybody was at the top of their game. And I could also see the first rows of people. And folks were crying, and they were just in awe. And I know that people went home from that and thought, well, I'm going to be a better dentist. I'm going to be a better lawyer. Because I certainly went out and I said, I'm going to be a better writer. Because it just, well, you know, that rising tide lifts all boats, and it sure does. To wind up here, the reason the podium came out is because when I came here, as I said, I was terrified to speak. And that's not a metaphor, it's a symbol. I was terrified to speak. And they required the seniors, each one, to read. They had a situation called Vespers, where you had to read from scripture or something every day. And they picked a senior, and the senior would have to read that week. And I was really lousy at math, but that was the one math thing I got right, because they did it alphabetically once a week, and I figured that I had to get mine in January sometime. And I was actually hoping, I was a hockey player, I was hoping that I could work, so I wouldn't have to do that. And that's how much I feared just reading a paragraph, you know, just all very good. I didn't have that voice. But I did go out there, and I did it, and I survived. And that voice, that's the first time that voice sort of came to me. And I knew that I do have something to say. And I think it's worthwhile. I just have to learn how to say it and how to get over the fear inch by inch. And I did. And, you know, since I've gone on to NBC and spoken live in front of 5 million people, I gave a commencement address in front of 10,000 people. And I wasn't nervous at all. It's because that base of that ladder and that rung that I stepped on here allowed me to move up onto another rung. It was high as I could go, through the roof. And I would love it if the students here were able to keep climbing that ladder as high as they could go. And find a way, the way I did, that there is no limit. We shouldn't limit audio. We shouldn't limit the view, the video view of who we are. We're terrific. I want the world to see it. I want the world to see it in true and brilliant clarity. So thank you, John, for giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm not afraid anymore. I was looking to see if my initials were on here somewhere. ML. I look at that. So, well, thank you, and I know, Matt, you're coming up here to raise the paddles.